everyone. So I'm actually going to be reviewing the show called I Am the Night. This is a new show on TNT. It looks like we're just going to get 6 episodes of the show, and I think it's just going to be for one season, but I'm really excited after watching the pilot episode. And this is actually based, I don't know how much we're going to see of this, but it's based on the Black Dahlia murder. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, there was an actress named Elizabeth Short. She was found dead in a very gruesome fashion. Like, one of the things that they had found was like her lips had been like split on the side. Kind of like the Joker, it's definitely disturbing even to think about. And for the longest time, they have not known who had murdered her. But one of the biggest suspects in history was a man by the name George Hodel. And it's most likely him. There's a lot of evidence against him, but it has never been officially proven that it was him. Mainly because the police at the time, it seemed like they were trying to cover for him, because maybe he knew some secrets about the police, because there was a lot of corruption at the time. And it just was left off as we don't really know who officially murdered Elizabeth. The show doesn't explore that too much yet. I don't know if they're going to, but there's definitely an element of that in there. So this actually takes place in the mid-60s. We're introduced to a girl named Pat, and we don't quite know how she's going to be important yet, but we see her life. We see that she is she's considered to be mixed race. Her mother is African American, and she goes to a very segregated school. She's kind of an outcast to both the white and black students, so it's just kind of, that's her life that we see. And when she comes home one day after work, her mother is upset with her because she's spending all this time with the guy, Lewis Ferguson, I believe was his name, and she doesn't want her to waste her life with him. And she's a kind of a drunk, so she's really taking out her frustrations on Pat. And she mentions something about who she really is. And Pat becomes curious, so that night she sneaks into her room, and she finds a box that has her birth certificate in it, but it has a completely different name on it. The name is Fauna Hodel. So in the morning she confronts her mother about this, and she tells her, yeah, that's your name, you're adopted. And she tells her about how she came to live with her, and it's just a very unusual situation where a woman was trying to give up her baby, and she asked her to take her. And there's not a lot of, like, there's some details given away, but not, I don't think the full story was quite given. But she learns about the Hodels, and she becomes curious, so while she's at work, she works at a hospital. She goes and looks for a file under Hodel, and she finds the number for George Hodel. Yeah, and as I told you, he's not a good man. But she doesn't know this at the time. So she calls him up, and he's unusually accepting that she's his granddaughter. Like, he doesn't go, no, I don't believe you. No, this can't be it. No, he immediately accepts the fact, which I find kind of odd. I don't know if he was planning for her to eventually return, and I'm going to talk about an important connection that he might have to her. But in the meantime, she is invited to come stay with him. So that does eventually happen. She does go to LA to visit him, and she is upset with her adoptive mother because she at one point fakes her death. And I guess it was kind of a way to teach her a lesson. I didn't quite get that part of the show, but Fauna, or Pat Fauna, gets really upset with her, and that's when she decides to leave. So she's going off to find her real family. And the other story that we saw in this episode was the story of Jay. So he is a reporter. He mainly goes out and takes photos of scandals and murders and all of that. And he's kind of down on his luck. He doesn't have... Like, he is skillful, but he's not good at not getting caught, let's say. Because, like, the first assignment we see him doing, he immediately gets caught, like, taking pictures of a scandal. And the next one, he's taking pictures of a murder. He sneaks into the hospital and he gets the pictures, but then he's quickly caught because he chose a really bad hiding place. But yeah, he's just not doing too well. And he seems to be ashamed of something from the past. He was at one point a soldier or a Marine, I think. And he also wrote an article, and that article seems to haunt him. We don't quite know entirely what the article is, but it seems to be related to the Black Dahlia case, or maybe George Hodel, and I'll get into that. So yeah, he's not doing too well, but then he gets a phone call at the end of the episode from Pat's adoptive mother, and she tells him that he needs to keep looking into George Hodel. So clearly people are aware that he's a dangerous man. And Pat/Fauna actually meets him unknowingly in this episode. She's at a bus stop on her way to LA, and she is interrupted by a man who comes up to her, and he has the same voice as George Hodel, who she had talked to on the phone, but she doesn't make the connection. But there's an air about him that's very suspicious. So she doesn't quite pick up on that, but she's gonna go visit him soon, so maybe she will. But yeah, we see him at his mansion. Pat makes one more phone call, and she manages to catch a woman named Karina. I'm not entirely sure how she's related. I'm not sure if she's like a second or third wife to Hodel, but she warns Pat that her grandfather is a dangerous man and that she shouldn't have anything to do with him. So one could assume that she would say that just because she doesn't want a scandal getting involved, but she seemed really sincere about this, like she was really warning her. So now that I have gotten through the synopsis of the pilot, there was a big scandal with George Hodel that he had a child with his daughter, Tamar, and the daughter was Fauna. We don't know 100% sure if that's true, but Wikipedia actually lists him as the father and grandfather, which I find interesting that they would do that, but Wikipedia, anybody can do anything on there, so can't 100% trust that either. But there's definitely a lot of speculation that he could be the father. And even if he didn't murder Elizabeth Short, there are a lot of allegations against him with other incidents, like he might have actually sexually abused Tamar, and he seems to be like a magnet for murder. Like I had learned from a video that I watched recently on BuzzFeed Unsolved, that he went to the Philippines at one point, and while he's there, a woman ends up dead not too far from him. It could be a coincidence, but one wonders. I don't know. I can't say for sure. My facts are just clearly what I have learned. I'm not making anything up. this is just what I have read, what I've heard. So just keep that in mind. But the show overall, I thought it was really well done. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video series for this, but after watching the pilot, I was really captivated by it, and I think it's going to be a really good show. I think, like I said, there's only 6 episodes, so I don't know how they're going to cram everything in there. This is actually based on an autobiography that Fauna had written, and I think we're just mostly going to focus on her. The actress playing Pat/Fauna, she's really good. Her name is India Isley, I believe is her name. And she's actually the daughter of Olivia Hussey. That's what I read in an article. And she actually does have her resemblance, I did not realize. But she's really good. Very, very good. I'm excited to see her play the character throughout the whole series. And Chris Pine is playing Jay. He's really good as well. He definitely... this is a very emotional character for him, and because there's more to him than we really see in the pilot, I think we're going to learn a lot more about him throughout the series, and I think he's going to play him really well. So I'm looking forward to that. And also, I believe Jefferson Mays is playing George Hodel. So Jefferson Mays has been on Broadway. He's a really good actor. He's also been on other shows, I believe The Americans as well. And I almost didn't recognize him. He's really good at playing his characters. And I think he captured the air of George really well. Like I said, I couldn't even tell it was him. I had to keep looking at him. I'm like, is that his face? But he's really good. So yeah, I'm just excited. This cast is great, and Patty Jenkins is the director. If you don't know who Patty Jenkins is, she directed Wonder Woman, and that was one of the better DC movies. So I'm really looking forward to see what she has in store for us. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how this story plays out. I enjoy learning about history, and one thing that always gets my attention is all of these mysterious deaths and murders that have no full explanation as to what happened, and I'm just captivated by the Black Dahlia murder case, because it seems like there is an answer, but there's really no way of 100% confirming it anymore. But it'll be interesting to see if it ever is officially solved. I don't know how it will happen, but I just honestly have the strongest suspicion that they are right about George. But I can't say that that's for sure. Just my suspicion. Alright guys, so what did you guys think of I Am the Night? I think it's going to be a good show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. And yeah. Alright, I will see you for the second episode next week. Have a good day. Bye guys.